Welcome, friends, neighbors, strangers, one and all, to the RattleMind podcast. With your host, Rye, and co-host, Hanchi. Now get ready for your mind to be rattled, as these two will talk about just about anything rattling around in their mind. So sit back, grab some popcorn, a few snacks, and prepare yourself for the RattleMind podcast.
All right. Hello, everyone. How did you like the new intro?
Yeah, I don't know how to start this anymore.
Yeah, that was just, I'm amazed by the intro, and, our friend Damien did a great job on it.
Thank you so much, Damien. That was so cool. And we didn't ask for it either. It was just kind of like, here. Like, whoa.
Yeah. So, now you may be wondering, why was there nothing on Monday? Why isn't there going to be something on Friday? We're trying to experiment with our format a little bit. So we're going to do a longer podcast for today, which if you're watching this now, it should be Wednesday because that's when I'm posting it. I love how weird time is.
Time is a lie. It's not existent. It's a man-made concept.
Yeah. Did you know that okay, no one get mad at me. I'm just stating something. That one person...
I'm already mad at you.
Okay, yeah. That's understandable. There once was there was a person who claimed that time and schedules were a white man's construct. And there was no such thing as time until the white man brought it to everyone else, so the white man needs to go down. I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
What? Flat earther.
Exactly.
Like, I can't even... I don't know. What?
I know, people are morons. Where do you get that? I mean, time existed, because, hey, there's a big ball of light coming up above the horizon. Oh, look, it's been a long time, things have happened, and now the big ball of light is going down on the opposite side. What is that? There's a period between them. It must be time.
Yeah, we're just literally labeling the position of the sun. That's all it is.
Exactly. I heard
and
that.
Moon, for that matter.
Yes, the moon as well. It's like, you see, there are even big structures that were invented that tracked these things. So obviously everyone knew what time was. It may not have been, there's 60 seconds in a minute. There's 60 minutes in an hour. It might not be that specific, but, time existed. Schedules existed.
Yeah.
It's like, there is sun. It is time to hunt. Go, child. Kill your first prey.
See what we're doing. We should probably go get food.
Exactly. It's like, how can you be that stupid? But then again, this is the human race, so, stupidity runs in it.
I feel like the craziest people do really have the most interesting things to say, whether you agree or not. Because I feel like it comes from just like a really creative wiring of the brain. So it's like, it's hard to like hate people who say stuff like this. But like, at least they're like...
It's like you get that moment of,
I can't really.
Yeah. The instinctual thing to do when you hear these people say these things is to do the dog head tilt and go, huh?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Uh-oh.
I don't want to sit through a whole lecture of it.
Exactly. But... Yeah, it's just, people are weird.
Why did you, that scared me. I was like, can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out for like a split second there.
Oh, weird. It's probably because I'm doing this like push to talk style
Yeah, it could be that
thing with the mic. But I'm not so I'm not interested in the theory. I'm interested in the person and the wiring of the brain that caused them to believe so hard in this theory, because like I love the concept of thinking outside the box, but I don't want to be, I wouldn't want to be that irresponsible with
Right.
it. I feel like that's not
It's like,
responsible to spread misinformation like that,
well, the thing is that in my opinion, it's like, I will entertain your thoughts to the point that is fascinating concept, but I know that, other things are actually true. So, it's kind of like, because the Mayans had calendars, they tracked the stars, they did everything. So did the Egyptians. While, the white man, or Europeans as technically they are, were just, grazing with the cattle and stuff. So it's like, yeah. So you can't, there's proof that, people had calendars and stuff long before the white man or Europeans came to their culture and allegedly brought it to them.
Exactly. I mean, I wonder if these are the same people who believed that the end of the world was going to be the end of the Mayan calendar,
The funny thing about,
Remember that?
yes, I somewhat was hoping it would happen. The funny thing about the Mayan calendar is that the way it actually worked was that the start of the calendar was actually the start of a new age, and the end of the calendar was the end of the previous age, and therefore a new calendar must be started. So it wasn't that there was going to be some great catastrophe or anything like that.
Right.
It's like, because, I think the first calendar was that of the mud people. Trust me, I don't know my Mayan history at all, so I might be talking out of my butt. And then you had the Mayans themselves, was the calendar that we had been currently living in, or had been living in.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in a new calendar cycle, which would be a dawning of a new civilization of sorts.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's
There
actually,
just aren't any Mayans around to make a new Mayan calendar.
exactly. There we go. See? But yeah, that's what I understand. And like I said, I could be talking out my butt. So, always take what I say with a grain of salt. Do your own research if you find something interesting that I say. And tell me if I'm wrong, because I'd like to know if I'm wrong. So
I love being fact-checked. Fact-check me.
Exactly.
Then we'll both learn something.
Yeah. But yeah. Time. People, idiots.
White man ruined everything.
I think that was the mindset of the person who made that comment.
Probably.
And I think it was actually, I think if I remember the story right, it was actually a white person who said it.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, you have just...
Overcompensating for white guilt much?
Yeah. You have been reading into things way too much. And it's just like, all right, this is going to be a very weird podcast. I mean, if you haven't already told by our discussion with time. So I'm going to go make it even weirder for people. The first slave in the United States was a white man to a black man.
I've actually heard things like that.
Yeah. And then...
And that actually there were a lot of white slaves.
Yep, mostly the Irish.
Yeah.
Yep. The Irish were basically the first slaves in America. So, really, slavery is just bad in general. Every color of the rainbow has been a slave of some sort. I don't know who you are. Don't call me while I'm recording a podcast. Stupid phone.
Suspected spam. Suspected spam.
I think it's like I once answered and it was like a policed fundraiser or something is what they claim to be. I don't really know because the phone number was from the area code nowhere near me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not actually who you say you are. So
Oh my
no.
gosh. I have a funny scam caller story because so I get this call from uh, a 937 number, which is where I used to live. But this is a common tactic. Like I still have a 937 number, so what they do is, they call you from a number with that area code on
Right.
purpose to make you think it's someone you know. And it was really funny. I've been trying to answer and tell them to take me off their call list because it usually dies down after a while when you do that,
Right.
So I answered this time to tell them off, but what I wasn't expecting was the MFer to go, "Hi, I'm calling from insert your local electric company here."
Mm.
It's like, I don't live in Dayton anymore. You're calling me from a 937 number saying you're from Cincinnati? Are you? I was like, I just simply was like, "No, you're not. Take me off your call list." And he was like, "Oh, like he was not expect. He must have been new because he was like, "Oh, okay," and hung up. That was the dumbest thing ever. Do they not know how electric companies work? Oh my god, they are local. Oh, so dumb.
Yeah. This is this is how a lot of people get scammed into doing things is that they'll get called from what seems to be a local number and it's just some who knows what who bought a list of numbers off the internet.
Yeah, they clearly had my number and not my address, so I guess that's good at least.
Yeah.
But they should know where Duke is located too, so that's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah. That's terrible things, We're just calling you from blah blah blah. It's I have a really good story. There is a really crappy movie called Asteroids or something like that. It came out the same time as Armageddon and the one with Elijah Wood. I can't remember what it was. Uh, well,
I'm not sure. It is a lot of like old movies Elijah Wood's been in though. Have been kind of cute though. Like there's
well,
one called Bumblebee or something
yeah.
like that that I really love. But go on. This movie was not so cute and wonderful.
Well, in this movie Asteroids, a dam is blown up in Kansas City. There's no dam in Kansas City.
Oh.
There's never been a dam in Kansas City. I want to know where this fictional dam came from.
I mean, that's the key word, isn't it? It's all fiction.
Yeah, but it's just funny. They didn't even bother to check to see if they were right with a dam in Kansas City. They just assumed, hey, there's a river, that's what creates the border between Kansas and Missouri up there. There must be a dam to block that river. No, that river is just a river. It just flows.
Yeah, we actually went through uh no. No, we didn't go through Kansas. Where did we go? Never mind. Anywho, but it is funny that like I I don't think I can think of any, at least not a major dam in Ohio. I don't. There's a lot of lakes here and the Ohio River, of course, but I don't think the Ohio River's dammed.
Don't you love it when you can use the word damn and it
I
actually
know,
works?
right?
'Cause it's like, that dam is great. I love how, that curve in that dam really holds back that water well. I mean, it is providing us electricity. We are getting some great dam electricity from our great dam. I mean, come on.
Such a beautiful structure, that dam.
Yep. Uh, But yeah, why can't you actually figure things out before you talk to people or make a movie that, takes place in a place where, real people live and, you might want to know about the geographical locations in there at the very least?
I mean, a movie about the end of the world isn't exactly shooting for accuracy, though.
Good
And
point.
I was thinking about this the other day too. Movies and shows used to leave a lot to the imagination. Like, we had some weird shows and movies, and they didn't have to be super accurate. They just had to be entertaining. But I feel like the bar has been very raised in that sense.
Yeah, I think the internet is what killed that, it raised that bar so high. You got the internet. Why aren't you looking it up on the internet? It's literally right there in front of you. You have a phone. I mean, it's the magic box to knowledge and destruction, but it's knowledge.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, I think the advent of internet is what kind of demystified too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a new it can be exciting, an exciting standard, because you can still put a twist on reality as long as you're not being super ignorant about it.
Right. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I will, like the asteroid movie I was talking about. I'm fine with the concept of the movie and everything, but this was geology, and even
Was
without the internet, you should be able to know that there's no dam on that river.
No, yeah, that's true. This is a good exception because, like, maybe benefit of the doubt if the movie was set maybe like 50 years in the future. Like when maybe society decided they needed a dam and then built it, then it can be kind of justifiable. But if it's like based on current times,
Yeah.
then no, that's too off-putting. Like,
Man. Like, I think that's a little bit of the problem with modern society is that they do just enough research and then they stop. I mean, you get enough to get the vaguest outline of everything correct, but you could just do a little bit more and you could get it actually correct.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, each and every human being only has so much will and energy to put into, like, only the things that you're most passionate about,
Right.
so like, but like,
Well, they're supposed, on a lot of movies and TV shows, they have, a small section of their writing staff or their actual staff that's supposed to, double check some information just to make sure they're not messing up.
no, yeah, when you're running a huge production, you gotta be thorough for sure. I just meant like in general, like,
Yeah. With
yeah.
the average person, I understand. You will miss things. I miss things all the time. I mean, heck, I just walked out my room and tripped over a wire that I've missed. I've known that wire was there for the last 6 years, and yet I still trip over it, even though I know it's there.
I mean, that's a little different, but I do appreciate the
You know me.
admission.
I like to be hyperbolic.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I had another thought and it's gone. Like I said, this episode is going to be we're all over the place. We're going to jump between topics and talk about everything. But okay, rivers. I'm going to talk about this. You know how there's a river that runs through LA that they've made into a gigantic cement waterway that, barely has a trickle. And in most car movies, you see them racing through it. Terminator 2, you had them doing that motorcycle that was being chased by this.
I've honestly never seen the Terminator movies.
Okay.
But I'll take
Grease.
your word for it.
Have
There's
you
a
seen,
big cement.
All right. Have you seen Grease?
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
Okay.
But classic, yeah.
That drag scene takes place in that gigantic cement river basin, which now, when they were originally planning out the city, now remember, I could be wrong. Don't trust me for information. You can look it up yourself. I always stress this.
We're not here to be educational. We're here just to talk.
Exactly.
Talk your ear off.
Well, they had two options to go when planning out the roadways in the river, how to deal with the river going through it. One option was to do what they did and, cement it all over and turn it into a big heat-inducing ditch that just dries up. Or option 2 was for them to actually make it into basically a natural park that runs through the city. So they would have the trees and the tributaries would come into the river and everything, and just put bridges across wherever they could need them, and they would still do the fancy bridges. But most of LA's water problems stems from the fact that they chose option A. Had they chosen option B, there would have been more moisture in the air because the water would have been flowing all the time. And the plants would have retained the water because they need it to survive.
Yeah.
And they probably would have had a little bit less pollution as well.
Huh.
So,
interesting.
I mean, I understand where they're coming from because back then it was cool new product called cement that is strong and will last for a long time. Cool product.
Yeah.
So I understand they wanted to do this could be really cool. I wanted, the experiment wise brain in me says, I understand where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
But the adult who has done enough research to know nature is better when it comes to your waterways says that you were morons.
Yeah. We are a bit of a learn the hard way kind of nation.
Very true. But then again, when you think about it, how the country was, stated to come to being, it was we're going to do it the hard way mentality.
Well, we didn't really have much choice. I actually have a British friend that, like, I was talking about this with him, and I was like, because he was like, he made some comment about us being gun-toting, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
it's here. I'm not denying that. But I was like, what did you expect? We're literally one of the youngest countries in the world. We were born literally from a rebellion, a gun-packed rebellion,
Yep.
and like that's how we were born. That's how this country exists, was from the revolution. So think about it.
And the entire reason we have the Second Amendment is because, that's what they did. They rose up against their government who was oppressing them, and they had to fight off that government and form a new one. And that's what the Second Amendment is about. Is so that if the government, any political party is in charge, becomes oppressive to the national populace, you not only have the right to defend yourself locally from people who are trying to invade you or from foreign people who are trying to invade you, but the Second Amendment also says that you are allowed to have a weapon of any type. It just says arms. Arms are not specifically guns. Arms are any type of weapon. I would like anyone to, remember that. To defend yourself. So if for some reason the military was called in and said, we're going to take over the state of Nebraska. Every military person is going to take over the state of Nebraska. Well, the residents of Nebraska have the right to defend their property from the government. So that's
right.
And I think that's a little bit
it's
of
more about the action and not about the item.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of foreigners, not people from the United States, and a lot of people from the United States don't understand this concept either. But that's my understanding of what the issue is that they don't understand that the United States was set up in a way with our Constitution and the Bill of Rights to protect the individual. Yes, we had issues in the beginning because it's basically growing pains, and it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get over those bad things, and we are thankful that those bad things are gone. But this system of government that was set up was built to protect the individual so that the individual can do what they would like to do. And I think a lot of people have lost sight of that concept.
Yeah.
So, you got to remember, expressing yourself is great. And that's what the Constitution is meant to protect, is that you can express yourself. Now, there are restrictions on how far you can express yourself, because no one wants to see a band of cowboy hat wearing naked guys stampeding through the city. No one wants to watch
Why do
that.
I have to be naked?
Because I had to. It's just...
Okay, fair enough.
I think that's...
you might have described somebody's wet dream, though, just saying.
True. But
anywho.
But it's supposed to be, that's the type of limitations. You're not supposed... You can offend anyone you want, but don't expect the person you to offend to want to deal with you. And they have every right to stop dealing with you.
I love it when people throw that out there, like freedom of speech. Okay, say what you want, do what you want, but that just means somebody can say and do what they want right back. Like,
exactly.
I don't think you understand. You can't get offended when there are repercussions to the way you utilize your freedom of speech. If you're gonna be an a-hole, expect someone to say something with their freedom of speech. It's not a hard concept.
Now, I think that's the other thing that people don't understand outside of the United States, is that our freedom of speech, yes, we can say anything we want, but anyone around us can say, you're a jerk. I don't like you. I am never going to talk to you again. And that's their freedom of speech. Well, they could be a lot harsher too. I'm just being polite because, this is a podcast. Right. It's going up on the internet.
Right.
But with that, we have the right to offend and we have the right to be offended.
Yep.
Whereas in other countries, there are countries out there where you have no right to offend anyone. You have no right to be offended, and you must do exactly as you're told. North Korea.
The league. You might want to get that cough checked out there, right?
Yeah, I know. My allergies are always so bad.
It really is crossing the line with like legal repercussions when governments get a little too into personal decisions. Abortion.
Yeah. That's a heated one, and I can understand both sides. So don't get me wrong. I understand both sides of that argument, but I'm not getting into that argument because I don't want to get into that argument.
Yeah, I don't want to either, but
that could take us like 3 hours, and honestly, I'm not sitting here for 3 hours. I got to go scratch my butt in a different room at some point.
Yeah, it's just, why is it too much to ask to just... Why can't people just do what they want to do, and if it's not hurting or affecting them, to let people do what they want to do? Some things just do not need all the drama that they're getting.
I'm trying not to go into that discussion because, yeah.
I tried to generalize it.
You did generalize it a lot.
Okay.
And I think you did a decent job of your generalization. So
Oh, thanks.
that's the other reason why I don't really feel the need to go into it. But that little voice in my head saying, I could say stuff. I could say stuff. No, I don't want to say stuff. You just be
Maybe we could
quiet.
do like a section or a smaller podcast where we actually like, we actually do go a little
Yeah.
serious or intense or whatever, but like have disclaimers,
Yeah.
just be prepared in general and be able to prepare anyone who might be listening to. So,
Yeah, it might be a subset of the podcast. We'll like not and in it won't readily say the RattleMind podcast. It'll say you might be offended by the RattleMind podcast.
right, something like
That would
that.
be
Yeah.
like the title of the subsection. I think that's a great idea. And that's worth, exploring. So
Yep.
this is the fun thing about being a growing podcast and trying to figure out what foot you're standing on is that we can throw out ideas and see which ones work and which ones don't.
Yeah, I mean that's why we're not like a specialized podcast. We're like anything and everything podcast. We're finding our feet,
Yeah, like in this last 30 minutes, we just jumped through about 7 topics.
Right.
I mean, I enjoy doing that because that's the type of conversational style I have. I will segue between topics whenever I'm talking to someone a lot. So
Yeah, it is fun to do, but it's something I only have so much energy for.
right, which is why doing this. That's why we're trying this once a week podcast for the month of May. If we like how it's going with the once a week podcast, we'll keep to it. But
well, if we record for an hour, we can just do 2 little ones instead of 3 little ones.
True, but I'm trying to do more less work. No. How do I put it?
I almost said I know what you mean, and then I thought about it for a few more seconds, and I was like, I don't know what he means.
Like, that was the worst oxymoron I've ever heard. That earns the word moron to it. Wow.
Way to put the moron in oxymoron.
Exactly. Well, what I'm trying to say is that I am going to try to do some more actual work on the podcast and maybe try to promote the podcast by doing like Twitter or something like that soon. So be on the lookout.
We should use our day jobs to invest in maybe some equipment and then market. I feel like that would be
but
smart prioritizing.
You know me, I technically don't have a day job.
You're trying.
How
many times have I told you just to get a work from home job?
I cannot stand working from home. It drives me
insane.
insane.
I guess it is a little messy when kids are involved. I guess we're all kind of evolved, but
Yeah, kids they go from babies, the first stage of evolution. Then they become toddlers, the destructive stage. Then they become children. They learn to think and speak. Oh, God. Then the worst part. They go to preteen. They start to talk back to you.
You could just do the other thing I keep telling you to do, which is move to Ohio, but
Yeah. The cards for that are still on the table, so they're not off the table.
Well, that's
still
good
there.
at least.
So
we're hiring. We'll take you.
All right. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do a little bit more marketing, a little bit more editing. Try and actually zhuzh up the podcast so we can get a little more following. I mean, I'm fine with what we have. I mean, we have 11 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm proud. It's 11 more than we had before. Exactly. I can be proud of that.
So yeah.
And we have Damien's amazing help.
Oh yeah. that was so unexpected to get that intro. I mean, and it was really cool. So, I mean,
Yeah, he's got the voice for that kind of thing for sure.
yeah, I could always eat an onion and get my voice to go super deep and gravelly and do stuff similar, but boy, does that
I mean, you
hurt.
kind of did do that though when you were starting these podcasts. That's exactly what you were doing.
True. But yeah, we'll try to grow the podcast a little bit more. Speaking of, jobs and stuff, my classes for the pharmacy tech certification classes don't start until July. So I got 2 months. Had I...
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Had I actually, had the money at the beginning of April, I would have already been doing them. But yeah, I was just like 2 weeks short of being
it's
able
all
to
good
enroll in it.
though.
Yeah. It gives me 2 months to, look at the books and figure things out beforehand.
Yeah. Get a little head start.
Yeah.
Breeze right through it.
Now, the worst part about online classes is class participation.
Oh, really?
It's like, this is an online class. I took this so that I could have free schedule time, so that I could do stuff that, I need to do in my life. Yet you're telling me I have to participate in a call or whatever. In this case, it would be posting on a message board. You have to pose a question and you have to respond to someone else's question to get your points, which is absurdly annoying. What if I have no questions because I actually understood the material?
I mean, I hate to sound like an old fart, but I mean, that is kind of what hiring companies want people to be able to do.
That would be different if it was an actual hiring company and stuff. This is just certification training, which I paid $1,300 for.
Yeah.
And there's no guaranteed job after this.
Yeah, but
so
I mean, if you still want the job to know that you did it,
Well, see, this is the weird thing about this, is that you can technically get the certification without ever taking a class. It is literally just a test you have to pass. Now, you also...
interesting.
Yeah, you also need to do a small section of clinicals, which is, working in a pharmacy for, I think, like 90 days.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that.
So, it's not as important that you take the class. It's more important that you pass the certification.
Fair enough. Fair enough in this case, yeah. Would having taken the classes look better? Like if an employer was looking at 2 applicants and one had completed an entire course and passed the test and one had just passed the test, what would look better? Would it be kind of cool that they didn't need all those courses? Or would it be more responsible to have taken the course, So
yeah, that's the weird question, because you can actually get hired on at Walgreens or CVS. Occasionally they'll do it. They will hire someone on, they will do the clinicals with you, and then they will help you with taking the class so you can get your certification. But they require you to continue working with them for a year or so.
Right.
So, and in that case, you're not taking any classes, but you're definitely getting the experience so that you could go on to work anywhere else.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, experience is king, ultimately.
Oh, yeah. It's just like I have an animation degree. Technically, that degree is great and all, but if I don't have a good enough portfolio to show I can do the work, that degree is just a piece of paper.
Right.
So it's a similar concept, only one deals with medicine.
Right. Yeah. Same concept, different subject.
Yeah. Um, there's another thing that's similar to that. Oh, um, it's not exactly similar, but computer repair has a similar type of thing where you can get a certification in computer repair. You can take take a class to learn how to do it, or you could just take the test and pass it. Um, but the funny thing is that not until like the last 10 to 15 years did most companies actually want you to have that certification.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So most of the people who worked in the Geek Squad when they first started the Geek Squad probably had no idea what they were doing.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
But I mean, like in the tech world, like that's that became a lot of people's like passion.
Right.
Like if it's your hobby, that's just as good experience.
Yeah. But there were people who didn't even know how to install a program onto a computer that were working at Geek Squad. I,
Oh, geez.
I know this because my brother used to work as a Geek Squad member.
Okay. I thought it was speculation. I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know you had firsthand stories. That's that's crazy. That blows my mind. That's
Yeah.
something you want people, with experience for sure, whether it's classes or just the hobby style like I was talking about. But then again, people do lie a lot on resumes, so who knows how they got that job.
Right. Well, I do know that one person got the job because she was the girlfriend of a manager. So,
Of course.
yeah, that's usually how it goes with stories like that. Um, but yeah. Yeah, early Geek Squad was hit or miss if the actual Geek Squad employees actually knew what they were doing. But most of them,
Huh.
if they had been working there for longer than 6 months, they usually had learned enough experience from doing what they did to actually be able to go and get the certification if they wanted to.
That's the hope. Yeah, if you're going to hire people that are that green,
Yeah,
the hope is that they care about it enough to learn about it, and that's what they do, and then they're not left alone all day too, because people are going to come in with the situations that they haven't had experience with, and like hopefully someone's there to guide them until they are
yeah.
uh
The
self-sufficient enough.
the real, I think the real bad one was when Geek Squad was technically there for your console support as well. So if your PlayStation or your uh, Xbox were not working, you could bring it into Geek Squad. The problem was that their solution to most issues with a console was we sent a console away, and we're giving you back a console that our people who actually know what they're doing with consoles says is good, but it's not the console that you gave to us. It's something complete. It's a completely different one.
uh Is that because of people just like bitching about how long it takes, or because I'd rather wait to get mine back?
I would assume so, but you know what they say about assuming it makes an ass of you and me. So,
Yeah.
but then again, it also makes an ass of the company as well in this particular instance. So,
Hmm.
swings and roundabouts. Which that's a weird turn of phrase.
I I was honestly processing that ever since you said it. Like my brain was like, "What?" Like I don't think I've heard that one.
You've never heard of swings and roundabouts?
No, I
On
can't say that I have.
the first time I actually heard about it was watching a British show, I think. And one of the off the cuffs, things they said was, it's all just swings and roundabouts or something like that. I know I'm probably saying it wrong, but like it took me forever to understand what they were talking about until we actually got a roundabout in our road. I'm like, oh, that's what a roundabout is. You just go in circles around instead of
Yeah.
directly turning into your, I get it. Now, what's
That's
the
what I was
swings part about?
hoping. I mean, swings are just back and forth. It basically sounds
Okay,
like it
yeah,
means you're just stuck in a cycle, like
yeah.
whether it's back and forth or round and around.
See, we just figured out something that, has been stumping me for a while.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
Right on.
that makes the metaphor complete sense, especially the swings part, because that's what was really getting me. What,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
what does the swing part mean? But yeah, going back and forth, that completely makes sense. You're
Yep.
going back and forth and not accomplishing much, but going up and down. And then the roundabout, you're just going in a circle.
Yep. Some people call them traffic circles, but I like roundabout better.
Yeah, it sounds much better.
It's a
Now,
lot funner to say.
true. And boy, did it cause havoc when they put that thing in. No one knew how to drive it. They were like,
That's
okay.
always the biggest problem. Always. No one knows how they work
Yeah, it's like, okay,
if you're not used to them.
the way you're supposed to do it is if you're in the lane that goes into the center section of the circle, the closest to the actual center of the circle, you are the one that's going all the way around. So instead of being able to take a direct, in our case, left turn, you're going around the circle and then you take a right turn out of the circle where it would have been a left turn.
Or you're going straight. But yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're trying to continue on the same road or if you're trying to turn left, you stay on the left-hand side or we can go around the inner circle. Yeah. Whereas if you're just trying to turn right, there's an outer lane for that on the right-hand side. You can just go and turn right.
Exactly. And
And always, always, always yield to people who are already on the traffic circle.
yes, and make sure that if you are still you're wanting to come off of the circle, you turn on your blasted turn signal.
Oh my god, no, that's never gonna happen. That is
Yes, I
way
know.
too big an ask.
It is. It's an extreme ask.
That ain't happening.
But yeah, so the vast majority of people, when that first thing was put in, it was like, okay, we're going on, and okay, oh wait, was that the road I was trying to get on? Okay, I'll just keep going around. Okay, that's the one I'm now in a parking lot. How did I end up in a parking lot? I was going around in a circle and I turned off and now I'm in a parking lot.
It's like roundabouts are literally mini highways. Literally, you have on ramps and off ramps and yielding, and it's
That's actually a good way of putting it.
yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah. Oh, it was so weird when that thing first came in. Everyone was yelling about it, complaining. And then, the city planners of whatever, the entire general area of that I used to live in, decided we must put these everywhere. We will put one here.
I mean,
this is
once your community is used to how they work, it really does help the flow of traffic.
Except for when it's in the middle of a housing district, there's just houses. There's no massive road. There was only stop signs before anyway, and we're gonna put a roundabout right in the middle there.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what the area is. I've seen them on country roads.
Yeah, it's just so weird where you'll find one. It's like, there is absolutely no traffic on this road. I have lived here all my life. There has never been more than one car at this corner at a time. Why did you install a roundabout here? And it's not even a real roundabout. There's not even a piece of grass here. All you did was put a big mound in the center of concrete.
I mean, I like roundabouts. I'm not gonna lie, I like them. I think stop signs, like four-way stops, become hazardous because what happens is, like, when someone's going straight and the person opposite you also plans on going straight, it makes sense, like they just go because it's not like any cross traffic is going, so
Right.
you just go, that's what ends up happening. But then somebody breaks the cycle because someone wants to turn left, and it's like, well, now the whole concept of going clockwise is thrown off because everyone's just been going straight,
Right.
and going past each other. So it has caused a lot of issues. I love traffic circles because, like, it really does, like, if you are just going straight and traffic is low, you can just, like, weave around that sucker and keep going, no braking, Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you want to slow down a little bit, but you don't have to come to a complete stop,
Yeah.
So I love them. I don't care where they are. I actually kind of like them. So
Yeah. Once I got used to them, I was like, okay, yeah, this is okay. I figured out how it worked. We're okay with this. But like I said,
exactly.
it was just weird when they put like a 2-foot circle in the center of a originally four-way stop that,
Yeah.
it's just like this roundabout is so small you could not fit enough landmass in the center to do a real roundabout.
That is kind of hard to understand. Maybe they wanted to decrease the amount of steering, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But either way, swings and roundabouts.
Swings and roundabouts.
Um, Boy, we've covered a lot of topics.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That is. I had another thing I wanted to say, and it always escapes me how you're talking about a conversation, you get into it, you think of it as something else to say, and then when you go to say it, it's just like, what was it?
Yeah.
It just happens way too often.
Yeah, it's pretty normal.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like an information overload type of thing.
Maybe.
You've had the thought, but you want to hear what the person you're talking to has to say before you interject with your thought. But by the time you have the space to say your thought, it's already gone because you were paying too much attention to the other person speaking with you.
There are times where I literally wish that I was taking notes because then I can just, like, look and be like, oh yeah, back to what you said about that, and then say a thing. But that happens to me all the time. I've done it to people and it's happened to me. It's just a fact of life. But the better the conversation is, the more that's going to happen.
Very
Honestly, if you
true.
really think about it. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. It's not really a complaint that I'm having. I just find it that the brain is a curious thing when that happens.
Mm.
It's just like, having deja vu. It's like I opened the door and hey, there was that same person. Okay. Wait, did that happen yesterday or today? I could have sworn I did this at the.
Oh my God. I cannot keep track of yesterday and the day before yesterday to save my life. I'll be like, yeah, a while back, I heard something, someone, remember a while back when you said this or whatever? And they'll be like, yeah, you mean last night? Like, oh,
Yeah.
sure. Was it?
That's where being vague kind of kills you. Like, oh, you caught me. I didn't remember
Yeah.
when.
Yeah.
So many interesting things when it comes to talking to people.
Yeah. And the more different people you talk to, the better.
Yeah, because.
Well, different people is kind of redundant. You
Yeah,
knew what I meant,
every
but I
person
just want
is
to
different.
clarify that, like, it's just like, uh, uh, the more the merrier.
Yeah. Because the more you talk to people you don't normally talk to, the more you get to know in general. Because
Yeah.
we both have friends that have lived in the UK, and we've talked to them
Yep.
quite a bit, and they're amazing people.
All over the world. Yeah. And
And they bring a new perspective into things. It's just like I watch Korean TV, which I really wish that our friend from the UK would join us on a podcast, because I really want to just have one podcast about Korean TV, because I have no one else to talk to it about, because no one in this household watches it but me, so I can't talk to them.
yeah, that is definitely a you and Bethy thing. That is not my cup of tea, but if she gets in here, I will let you guys just rattle to your heart's content about it.
So yeah, because when I watch Korean TV, I'm seeing the Korean perspective on life rather than the American perspective. When I'm
You know
watching,
that?
when
Yeah,
I'm,
sorry, keep going.
when I'm watching British
Korean.
television, I'm seeing the British perspective on things.
Right. You kind of learn a little bit about the culture. And that's how I felt whenever I was watching uh like Indian stuff, like it would be in Hindi, but of course with subtitles.
Yeah,
And it was so cool to like experience that culture and like the things they like to watch, and even the similarities, not just the differences. It's fun.
okay. I actually have a weird story related to what you were just saying.
Okay.
In my previous house, when we first moved into that house, and I was watching YouTube, the ads that would play would all be in Hindi. I was seeing toothpaste ads and yeah, actually
Interesting.
the toothpaste ads were the most prevalent. Um,
They talk so fast.
they do, and
When I
what's
was learning Hindi phrases, it takes so many words to say so like few words in English. Like I feel like English is one of the slowest languages. but like you listen to Hindi and like it's daunting how fast they talk. But yeah, go ahead, continue.
the funniest thing is that yeah, what it was that there was a phone company that would do an ad, and it was literally in the Bollywood style, so they would break out into song and everything, and it's like,
Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
hilarious. I love that they do that. But,
Yeah.
I can't participate in purchasing these products because I don't live in India. Google,
Right.
Google, why do you think I live in India?
That is weird. Although, if you think about it, I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a huge Indian population in America.
Yes.
And having used to have been married to an Indian man, it becomes blaringly obvious. It's not like I had never seen an Indian person before.
Right.
But like there are huge Indian communities out there and beautiful not churches, but temples, and
Yeah.
everything about the Hindu religion is actually quite beautiful and fascinating. They have some
Yeah. The
interesting
architecture.
tales. Yeah, the architecture, the uh ritual, like not like serious ritual. I mean like just like taking off your shoes
Yeah.
and the bowing and the some of them have bells, you ring a little bell, and uh all of it having extremely significant profound spiritual meaning, of course. And it's so like beautiful, in its own right. And I just love it. I love the diversity here.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't mind getting the ads because they were kind of fun, and,
Yeah,
they were actually
and
entertaining in their
they're
own right.
goofy peoples. They really can be a goofy peoples, and I love every second of it.
The only thing is that, they were literally, with the cell phone plans, they were literally listing off cities in India. And it's like, yeah, I definitely
Uh,
don't live anywhere near those cities. Google, you messed up big time here. So I literally had to
Huh.
email Google's technical support telling them that, all right, I live in Kansas, the furthest away from India as possible. So, why am I receiving Hindi ads when I can't understand them? Shouldn't I be getting ads where, I could actually purchase the product?
You actually cared enough to try to like get ads more tailored to you? Like,
Well, yes and no. It was more of the fact that, I would do a search because it was literally Google. I would actually, do a search for local restaurants or something like that, and it would bring up Indian stuff and places in India. It's like, Google, is everything okay, Google? Did you hit your head? Did a satellite go out of control and, forget where the United States is versus, India? I mean, it's like,
did it get flipped around? Did
Yeah,
a satellite like get flipped around?
I mean, this was the type of thing. It's like, okay, you're a big company. You shouldn't be making mistakes like this so readily. Because apparently it happened to a lot of people. Because
that's just technology, though. Like,
true. And this was like 10 to 15 years ago. So,
so internet was still.
It was moderately new still. It was in its toddler.
It was an angsty teen.
Yeah,
then.
There we go. Angsty teen works. Even now, I don't think it's reached adulthood. I
don't either.
And I'm not sure when it'll reach adulthood. So, I mean,
it's still a teen, but less angsty.
Yeah, it's on the edge of
maybe more of a rebel.
Yeah, there we go.
Phase.
That works. Man. But yeah, the internet is weird.
Everything's weird.
That's true. And that does make life more fun. If you can't be weird, then you're not having enough
point?
Fun. Yep.
Right.
You know what?
All right.
Yeah.
What are we at?
We're over an hour, so.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
We'll call it a podcast here. As always, thank you so much for watching or listening. Mostly listening, because really what you're going to watch is the screen that says RattleMind Podcast on it the entire time. So I hope you're just listening and you're not just staring at that screen, because, boy, unless you really like that screen. I did work decently hard on it.
You did do a good job on that. Yeah.
But
I'd stare at it for over an hour straight.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But I do love it.
Remember to let us know if you like the new format of a full hour length podcast versus.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It was like, we need feedback, people. You 11 special people, you give us some feedback and let us know what you'd like. What can we do that's not being done? How can we improve? What do you like? Let us know.
Yeah, because like I said, we're in our growing pains phase. We're trying to figure out what we're trying to do. So anything you'd like to tell us helps immensely. So
if internet is a rebel teen, then we are newborn babies.
Yes. We're just screaming and crying.
As a newborn. Yeah.
Yep. Screaming and crying and just, we either pooped our diaper or we need food. So you got to figure out which one it is for us, because we don't know.
Right.
All right. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.